Right, so we've got a very special guest on today. We've got Andy Mitten from the editor of United We Stand. Very, very thankful to have you on. Jesus, can't get my words out. So, come on, Chris, let's ask some questions.
So on a wet, cold day in Runcorn, why do you come down to watch Trafford, and why do you love this level of football?
I've watched this level of football since I've been 3 or 4 years old. I watched my dad play. In later years, my uncles, my brothers, lots of them have played for Trafford as well. And I grew up on the border of Urmston and Stretford, and Trafford and Flixton were my 2 local teams. And I've always followed Manchester United and gone to the games, but I've always loved non-league football and going. And in some ways, it's a release from United, which, whether I like it or not, has become my job. And when I go to games, I have to work, I have to talk, I have to write. So for me to come here with zero pressure and to just watch a game of football and to have a pie, and I really like it. And it's a totally different type of football. And that was a 0-0 game today, but it was a cracking game of football. And I know the weather was awful, and I know I'm stood under a stand which is supposed to keep you dry, and
but it didn't.
It's good, and non-league's booming. There's probably 500 or 600 people here today, and Trafford are getting 400 or 500. And I can remember 10 years ago that was 200, and 20 years ago that was 140. I think it's really good and accessible to the community that you can go and watch live football. I think too many people spend too much time on screens now, especially children. If you can go out, and what's wrong with feeling a bit of rain on your face and speaking to real people and meeting opposing fans, so in Trafford's case all over the northwest and down to the Midlands, and just had some really good times. I remember watching my brother play for Trafford. He got a draw in the FA Trophy away at Burton Albion, and it's a struggle a lot of the time because this isn't a team that wins all the time, but I really enjoy it. I can't come that often because I have to go to proper games for work, but when I do, I really like it.
Yeah. It's, do you like the community feel? That's what we're getting from this. It's the community feel. We are literally, as you can see, we're literally next to the pitch, Chris, if you want to hand. So you're there, you see the action, and it's that feeling with the players, is it? That connection you get with them. When they come over and shake your hand and give you a wave at the end of the game, you're not stood 20 rows back, and I get where you're coming from. That's why we come down, and it's great for you to be down here, and it's absolutely amazing that people like yourself come down and watch these games. It's great that we can all take part and see.
It's top, and the community feel, and it's difficult to take a full family to United or City. Tickets, especially at United, are harder to get. It's more expensive. And non-league is more affordable, and I know a few mates of mine who'll come and they'll bring the kids, and they'll say to the partners, I'm taking the kids out, so they get points for that. In reality, they're having 5 pints watching a game of football, and the kids are running around on the grass banks at Trafford.
It feels more accessible at times because you can bring the pushchair and
it's top.
There's space for your kids to run around, and sometimes the kids do have kickabout at Shoreview and that at Trafford.
So a lot of people's way into football is by watching non-league as a kid, and I can remember when I started going with mates, sometimes we'd even watch Altrincham, or we watch Flixton, or we watch Trafford. And I think one of the great things about football in this country is the depth of the pyramid. That we're watching football here at level 8, and there's 500 people here, and there's been a real surge in attendances post-COVID.
Definitely.
And I celebrate that. I think it's wonderful, and football shouldn't just be about superstars. Football clubs are very important in their communities, and I've just walked around the pitch at Runcorn today, and several people have come up to me who are Manchester United fans who live in Runcorn, and they do both, and you can do both, but shouldn't just all be about the big 6, I can mention 100 clubs, 200, 300 clubs who are really important parts of their community. And on a more social level, people suffer from loneliness. If they can go out, an older person, and speak to the mates at the football and have a pint and a pie, that's a really good thing as well. And for the players, it's obviously good to keep them fit, and so many good things come from it.
Yeah, well, that's what we base ourselves at Trafford as a community club. Somewhere where everyone can meet up after a game, or just everyone speaks to each other. We all go to each other's birthday parties. It's a family. More than anything else.
And you people are welcome. Remember once I went on a pre-season with Man United in '99 and met this Australian surfer in Bali, right? And 6 months later he gets in touch. He says, I'm backpacking around England now. So we took him to a Trafford game, right? He'd never been to a football game in his life before. He's a surf dude. He looks like a surf dude. Looks like you two, right?
It's the first time anyone said out like a surf.
And he stood on the crush barriers at the end of the game. It was in the FA Vase or Trophy. And he's singing "We'll Support You Evermore." I'm thinking, you've never been to a game. I've never seen him since. And you're just laughing at the ridiculousness of it all.
Yeah.
But it's great. I mean, I watched my dad. I've got such happy memories. And my brother, watched my brother score an equaliser at Barrow away for Ashton United. In the rain, 27 away fans. Me and my brother drove up there. We drove back to Manchester. It's one of the highlights of my football watching life because it's my brother. And Barrow weren't the Football League club, but it was still a huge club. And I love it. I can remember my brother was a decent forward, and I remember one guy at Stalybridge Celtic yelling abuse at him, like 3 minutes into the match. And I'm thinking, our kid's the third top scorer in the league. He's a good player. This guy, it's like he'd been let out of his house for the afternoon just to shout abuse. Like his wife said, get out your cage, go and get it out your system. And I said to him, the game's 5 minutes old, mate. And he growling away. So you meet characters at non-league. You meet some proper, interesting types, but overall it's a force for good.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some people who would say, we're 8th tier down at Trafford, so some people would say, going that low, the level of football isn't as good and whatnot, but what would you say about the level of football, the entertainment value? So, from what you've just seen especially,
I think to play at this level, to get paid to play football, you have to be very, very good. You remember you're at school, the best kid in your class, the best kid in the school. Most of them still aren't good enough to get paid to play semi-professional at this level.
Well, I know a few of our players were pros. There's 2 or 3. Even our keeper stay was brilliant, as you'll say, as you've seen. And he's from Crewe. Shawnee Higgins come from Altrincham. He was on a pro contract.
He was at Oldham as well at one point as well.
Yes, so there is some pros who've just dropped out a little bit, coming back in. So, like you say, they're
not doing it for the dough, are they?
They
want to play football because it's good for them physically, mentally, and what's wrong with being in good shape? But I like it. It's a totally different game. But in some ways, Premier League football's become far more predictable.
It's just Rob Laurel.
There's one of the players there. And I like it that the players mix with the fans after the game. And I'm not saying everyone should do what my brother did and have 6 pints with them, but it's a good thing. And the football can be more robust.
Yes.
You do see a lot longer balls, but you also see. I saw some lovely football there today.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of these lads, they've come through academies. They're very, very good. Yeah. They've just not made it because they're not good enough.
Yeah.
As professionals, but for me they've made it as semi-professionals.
Some of them do go on to be professional as well, so it's good stepping stone for some players, especially the kids coming through. But I mean, we have some on loan coming from Altrincham especially, who've got a good affiliation.
Altringham's a really well-run football club, and I think they're great what they're doing. I can remember watching my brother play at Stocksbridge. Remember Jamie Vardy playing for Stocksbridge Park Steels. You can rise out of it, you know. Other players have come out of non-league and gone really
Rob
high.
Laurel there was at Forest, weren't you, Rob?
Back in the day.
Yeah, Forest.
A while ago.
What, as a young pro?
Yeah, 1 year pro, yeah.
Right, there you go. There's a perfect example, people. 1 year professional at a club called Nottingham Forest, twice European champions, and now he's playing for Trafford.
Yeah. Excellent.
Cheers, lads.
Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.